This is NBK, nothing but Knicks. When send past the assist, you know that it's #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock, who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.
Knicks family, what's poppin'? It's your boy. Ladies and gentlemen, Knicks got a chance to go 5-0 in the new year. So they take on the Portland Trailblazers tonight. I mean, the Blazers, ladies and gentlemen, you know, they're not terrible. They've got 10 wins on the season, young, athletic. They got a guy in Jeremiah Grant that can, you know, he can play some basketball. But I do expect the Knicks to win this basketball game. Straight up and down. I expect the Knicks to win this game. You know, it shouldn't be. If the Knicks are as good as people say they are, they should win this basketball game. I was just doing a power rankings with a buddy of mine. We did a live podcast. One or two of you might have been on there. And we were looking at the NBA power rankings, CBS power rankings, ESPN power rankings, and all three platforms have the Knicks in the top 10. This week's power rankings, CBS actually has the Knicks. They actually got the Knicks third in the NBA. Right? That's how good some people see the Knicks have become with the addition of OG Anunoby. You know, it makes me feel good that the Knicks are getting that kind of respect around the league. And people can see, you know, with the way that the Knicks are playing. You know what I mean? The spacing, the defense. The defense has taken a total 360. I mean, look, before the trade, me, Tony, Josh, me and Josh were having arguments about, or debates, not arguments, debates about, you know, the Knicks and their defense. He's saying, well, you know, the teams in the league, they scoring 120, 130 points per game. You got to get used to that. You know, I think the Knicks are better with the offensive side. And I'm like, nah, I think the Knicks need to play some more defense. Well, right now it's looking like they got both. They definitely improved defensively over the past 4 games. And it's looking like they improved offensively with the spacing and all of that good stuff. You know what I mean? So it's been a good move so far. Excuse my dogs in the background. I don't know what they're tripping about. Really, they shouldn't even be out here, but they somehow find a way to sneak out here. Then they start making noises for no reason, probably because it's very, very windy and stuff is hitting up against the door, so it sounds like somebody is knocking and all that crazy stuff going on. So please be careful if you are in an area where it's very windy out, raining, pouring down rain. You might be able to see on my shirt, because I just came in from outside as I left my other studio, came to my home studio. It was pouring down rain, so you know, I was a little bit more wet than this. So please be careful if you're listening in your car, if you're, you know, finding your way home through the rain, just be very careful because it's windy and all that good stuff, especially here in the D.C. area. But anyway, the Knicks take on the Portland Trailblazers tonight, ladies and gentlemen. When you look at the Knicks' upcoming schedule, they're going to have a chance. They really do have a chance to stack together wins. And that's what I'm hoping that they do. Stack together wins. You know, they play Portland tonight. After they play Portland, they play the Dallas Mavericks. Right? Which, obviously, that's going to be a good basketball game. But it's a team that I think the Knicks can beat. Right? After they play the Mavericks, they play Memphis. Memphis is without Ja Morant. Ja Morant is done for the remainder of the season. Then they play Orlando. That's a team that, they're tough. They haven't seen the Knicks the way that the Knicks are now, currently constructed, but they're tough. After Orlando, they play Houston, then they play Washington again, and then they play Toronto on January 20th. Then they play Brooklyn on January 23rd. The Knicks will have a chance to string together some wins, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see if they can do it. Because if they can string together some wins, now all of a sudden they start to move up in the Eastern Conference, right? And I mean, they're already looked at as, a top 10 team in the league by a lot of power rankings, but they get even better. They get even better. So let's see what the Knicks can do. It's got to start tonight versus the Portland Trailblazers, ladies and gentlemen. All right, looking at the injury report for tonight, the Knicks, besides Mitchell Robinson, are healthy. All right, that's always a good thing. We want the Knicks to be healthy. For the Portland Trailblazers, DeAndre Ayton, he's doubtful for tonight. Moses Brown is out. Matisse Thybulle is questionable. Jabari Walker is questionable. Robert Williams is out. All right, so the Trailblazers are playing with a very young, inexperienced squad besides Jeremy Grant and Anthony Simons. Let me say that. Besides those two, they're playing with a young, inexperienced squad. So I expect that the Knicks, should get a win. I seen someone say, Facebook chat or something like that, say that the Knicks are, this could be a trap game. The Knicks have been very, very good in avoiding trap games. Not avoiding trap games, but not falling into the trap. Let me say that. You can't avoid the trap game. You got to play who's on your schedule. The Knicks have been very good at avoiding the trap. And I expect they're going to continue to do the same. You know what I mean? Listen, they're a young team. Portland is a young team. They just won the other day. They scored 130 some odd points the other day. They're a team that can score the basketball. So the Knicks got to be careful because, they've struggled against some of these teams that can score. Right? They scored 134 points and beat Brooklyn. They beat Brooklyn 134-127. So the Knicks got to be careful. They can't, play around. This hasn't been a team that's taken teams for granted. The Knicks haven't. I don't think they have. Right? They haven't really taken teams for granted. They've been on point with saying, hey, you know what? We got to come in serious. We got to take every team seriously and approach it that way. I think Jalen Brunson has a whole lot to do with that. His approach to the basketball game has a lot to do with that. But they've struggled this season, I feel, with teams that can score a lot of points. All right, now, Portland for the season is only averaging 109 points per game. Right? So we'll see if, that was just an anomaly or, for whatever reason they've turned the corner and they're scoring more points. All right? They're not a team that should put any fear in the Knicks. But the Knicks can't take them for granted. All right, so again, injury report. DeAndre Ayton, doubtful for the Portland Trailblazers. Moses Brown out. Matisse Thybulle, questionable. Jabari Walker, questionable. Robert Williams is out. And for the New York Knicks, only Mitchell Robinson is out. Isaiah Hartenstein has been playing his role tremendously in place of Mitchell Robinson. And, of course, causing a lot of people to ask questions about the future of Mitchell Robinson. You know what I'm saying? I don't think we should ask questions. I think we should be looking towards the future of the Knicks and saying, how better can this defense get when Mitchell Robinson comes back? Look, see, there we go. I see somebody, Joe Long, said, dump Mitch. But Mitchell Robinson is a defensive guy. Right? There's more spacing in that lineup now with OG Anunoby. Right? OG Anunoby defending wing positions. Mitchell Robinson defending the paint. Now, Mitchell Robinson and OG Anunoby adds a whole lot, that adds a lot of length. You know what I mean? So I don't want to dump Mitch. I want to keep Isaiah Hartenstein and keep Mitch. You know what I mean? And then now you got Mitchell Robinson as your starting center still, grabbing those offensive rebounds, blocking shots, helping to defend the pick and roll and all of those things. And then you got Isaiah Hartenstein, who can come off the bench, provide offensive rebounding. He's still blocking shots. He gives you a little bit more offensively. That's strong. Marcus Miller, 48 minutes of rim protection. Exactly. You know what I mean? And that's something that other teams in the league do not have. Other teams in the league do not have that type of power at the center position. LV said the dog agrees. You know what? Those two dogs, I don't know, they're just crazy. Any little noise, they're on edge. You know what I mean? The problem is they make all this noise barking, but as soon as we let somebody in the door, they want to jump on them and they're friends with them. The one dog, if a broom drops, he runs. But, they just got loud voices and it scares people. They're really not that tough. They're two big puppy dogs for real. Pit bulls, but they're not tough at all. They're just friendly. Which is cool too, but still, they just make a lot of noise. But anyway, keep Mitchell Robinson. Keep Isaiah Hartenstein. You know what I mean? And have, a duo at the center spot that a lot of teams in the league do not have. And I think that makes the Knicks that much more better. The challenge is going to be being able to pay Isaiah Hartenstein. You know what I'm saying? Because Isaiah Hartenstein is playing very good basketball right now. And I think there's going to be teams around the league who covet Isaiah Hartenstein since he is a free agent. We'll see the way that's going to, play out. You know what I mean? Ricardo said, Sim, that's a good thing. Rather have them dogs barking than not barking with the way the world is nowadays. I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. No doubt about it. As a matter of fact, my dogs are good. The other day, I took my daughter to the train station, and when she closed the door, she didn't close it all the way. So for 3 hours, my front door was open. And my dogs did not leave out the house. Instead, they sat by the front door and just looked outside. So I'm definitely, I feel good about these two guys, even though, well, one is a girl, one is a boy. But I feel good about the two. They make a lot of noise, but, they're friendly and they're smart. And I guess they do protect the house because they just stood by the door. The door is wide open. They just stood by the door. Nobody was going to walk in with those two guys sitting there. You know what I mean? Anyway, let's get back to talking about the New York Knicks. Let's get back to it. Let's look at the lineups for the night. All right. The Knicks, when you look at the lineups, you're going to see this team is young, especially with the lineups that are going to be on the floor tonight, or we expect to be on the floor tonight. All right. I mean, if the Knicks have trouble with this team, for the Knicks, you got Jalen Brunson, Dante DiVincenzo, OG Anunoby, Julius Randle, and Isaiah Hartenstein. For the Portland Trailblazers, like I said, Young, Scoot Henderson, Anthony Simons, Toumani Camara, Jeremy Grant, and Dupe Reith. Young, inexperienced squad. They do have 10 wins. Not a whole lot of wins, but they're not like Detroit or Washington or a team like that. They do have 10 wins on the season. You know, and a couple of tough guys to deal with. Anthony Simons, he's tough to deal with. Jeremy Grant, he's tough to deal with. Scoot, tough guy to deal with. Scoot looks older than he should. When you look at him. You know what I mean? He looks like somebody from the 70s out there hooping. Young kid, strong body. You know, he's a tough one to deal with as well. But when you look at these matchups, I mean, come on, the Knicks should be able to dominate at almost all of the, I don't want to say dominate at all of the positions. You know, Julius Randle, Jeremy Grant. Julius Randle's playing at an all-NBA level right now. I would expect him to continue playing at an all-NBA level. Jeremy Grant's a good defender. You know, but I just think Julius Randle's in another zone right now. We'll see if he can maintain that zone that he's in tonight. Isaiah Hartenstein, I don't know much about Duke Reith. The Blazers like him. You know, there's been some, write-ups about the kid. I don't know much about him, though. Besides the fact that the Lakers like him. Tamani Kamara, I don't know much about him. Right? Obviously, the Blazers, have some injuries to their depth. Anthony Simons, we know what Anthony Simons can do. You know what I mean? He's a guy that can shoot the three, can go to the basket. He's a very strong guard. And then you got Scoot Henderson, who is the future of the Portland Trailblazers. Right now he's still finding his way in this league. He's averaging 12.3 points per game, 5 assists per game, still finding his way. But he's expected to be the future of the Portland Trailblazers, and I expect that he will be the future of the Portland Trailblazers. He's shooting 37% from the field. He's shooting 30.8% from the three-point line so far this season. There should be a game that the Knicks, again, I'll say it over and over, the Knicks should be able to, shouldn't be too much trouble for the Knicks, hopefully. Now, Anthony Simons is going to give you some trouble, 25.5 points per game. Can't let a guy like him take over the game. And I don't think they will, right? Because you got a guy like OG that you could put on Anthony Simons if you want to. Because OG can guard from the 1 to the 4, sometimes small 5s. But Anthony Simons, though, is shooting 44% from the field. He's shooting 38.9% from the three-point line. He's definitely a threat. One of the guys that the Knicks really got to pay attention to, right? And not let him get too hot. All right, Jeremy Grant this season. Now, speculation of a lot of trade rumors. Rightfully so, because, when you look at his contract, he signed a 4-year contract. The Portland Trailblazers, they are where they are. They're not going anywhere with Jeremy Grant. As, listen, he's giving you 22 points per game. But, somebody's got to score the basketball on that team. And, I don't know. You're not building around Jeremy Grant. I think eventually he's going to be traded somewhere, to maybe a contender where he can really play a role, play a part, a big part in a team winning. Let me say that. And I'm not taking anything away from Jeremy Grant. He's a good basketball player. He's not the guy that you build your team around when you're young like the Portland Trailblazers. You know what I mean? So he's 29 years old. Timeline is all off. He's one of those guys caught in one of those situations. He is shooting 46% from the field and 42% from three. So Julius Randle has to be on his game to not let Jeremy Grant get off. I mean, he's going to get his, but not let him get off, crazily get off. You know what I mean? But Julius Randle's been locked in, even locked in defensively. And he's really been locked in. And, there's been, there's been the Athletic, they did a report on Julius Randle and his, what he did over summer as far as watching video and how it really changed his thought process and where he wants to get the basketball on the offensive side. You know what I mean? You know, he's really dedicated to himself to getting the ball closer to the basket, not being so far away from the basket, not letting the ball stick. It still sticks every once in a while, but, you know, he's doing better at not allowing the ball to stick. And I think you are seeing, you know, from Julius Randle, a difference in his play. And it's definitely, you know, translating to the box score and to the Knicks winning basketball games. All right, then you got Toumani Camara. You know, he's giving you 7.1 points per game, 4.9 rebounds, 23 years old, 6'7". You know, actually, you know, a defensive small forward. He's not going to be a guy that you're really scared about. It's not going to be a big threat out there on the floor unless the Knicks allow him to be a threat. You know, then you got Dupe Reith, 6'9" center. He's giving you 8.9 points, 3.7 rebounds per game. You know, 27 years old. From South Sudan. Played for Louisiana State. So, you know, he's a rookie. He's an old rookie. So there's not a lot of experience or firepower on this basketball team besides Anthony Simons and Jeremy Grant. Now, on the bench, I seen someone ask about Malcolm Brogdon. Yes, Malcolm Brogdon is playing. You got Shaedon Sharpe, Murray, Jeremy Grant probably plays with the second unit in the power forward spot. Then you got another center, Baji. Some names on here that you don't even know. That's how fresh this team is. That's how young and experienced this team is. Now, about Malcolm Brogdon. Let's talk about Malcolm Brogdon because I know there's been rumors out there that the Knicks are interested in trading for Malcolm Brogdon. Give me just 1 second. Be quiet. Get over here and sit down. Sorry about that. I had to. My dogs, I don't know. They're just excited. They start wrestling. Every time I get online, you guys probably can't hear it, but every time that I'm on, they start wrestling for whatever reason. But anyway, Malcolm Brogdon. You know, there's rumors out there that the Knicks are interested in trading for Malcolm Brogdon to play that backup point guard role. I wouldn't be upset with Malcolm Brogdon, you know, depending on the price tag. And Malcolm Brogdon is making $22.5 million this season. Then he makes $22.5 million next season. Is that the price that we want to pay for Malcolm Brogdon? Now, if you trade Evan Fournier, the Portland Trailblazers, you know, they free up a year as long as they don't pick up Evan Fournier's contract. But then the Knicks have to pay Malcolm Brogdon, of course, this year, 22.5, and next year, 22.5. Before you go with Malcolm Brogdon, I think you got to beat the horses on my man over here in Atlanta. You know what I mean? You got to check that out first. You got to check out what other younger options are out there. You know what I mean? Because DeJounte Murray, you know, he fits the age timeline. He's 27 years old. Obviously, he's a, you know, defensive guy, but plus he can score the basketball. Malcolm Brogdon gives you those things, but, you know, his injuries, history, you know, would scare most people. You know, once he finishes up this contract, I don't see Malcolm Brogdon getting another contract, not at $22.5 million, I don't think, because of his injury history. But look, he's 6'4", 229 pounds, right? He knows how to run a basketball team. He's one of those guys that one of those guys that you can trust out there on the floor. You know, he's got a good character. Been in the league 7 years. You know, so he's a vet. He's 31 years old. He's giving you 15.4 points per game, 5.4 assists. Shoots the ball 41% from three. He shoots 43.8% from the field. And so far this season, he's played 28 games. And maybe in a more limited role, he's playing 27.2 minutes per game for the Portland Trailblazers. For the Knicks, he's probably getting less minutes. I don't see him coming in and being a starter. I think Dante DiVincenzo would continue to be the starter. Malcolm Brogdon, who's coming off the bench now, would continue to come off the bench for the Knicks. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, so that wouldn't be an issue there. So he would definitely be a good addition to the Knicks bench. You know what I mean? A good addition to the Knicks bench. I don't know. How do you guys feel about Malcolm Brogdon? Would you want Malcolm Brogdon? You know, would you trade Evan Fournier? You might be able to trade Evan Fournier straight up for Malcolm Brogdon. I mean, the Knicks did waive Taj Gibson, which opens up their trade, you know, their flexibility when it comes to trades, right? You know, now they can bring back two players if they need to. Right now, that wouldn't, you know, as far as Malcolm Brogdon and Evan Fournier, the Knicks would have to add a player or money, you know, trade exception or whatever it is, to be able to bring back Malcolm Brogdon to make the money work and all that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So it wouldn't be about the, you know, the roster space is there. That's not the problem. My man Silk, what's popping with you, brother? Tell me, how do you feel about the Knicks if they were to make a move for Malcolm Brogdon? How would you feel about that?
What up, Sam? Long time, man. Been a while. I'm trying to get over this cold, like you were getting rid of your cold. So
I hope I didn't give it through you to the. I hope I didn't give it to you through the microphone.
Nah, man, it was good. We long distance. It ain't that far. We can't catch it that far away. We good. But this is what I think the Knicks are doing.
All right.
I think the only reason they are not going after Murray and going after Brogdon is it's going to cost them Grimes if they go after Murray. And I think they want to look at it, looking at the offseason for a big chip, and they want to use Grimes for that chip. And that's our last big young piece. Because they do think they big young piece. So if they could get Murray without giving up Grimes, then Murray would be here. But they don't think they could do that. So and they don't want to give up Murray after just getting them after half a season as a trade piece. But they can use Brogdon or Grimes to get the big dogs become free in the offseason. If he does it, then they just rock with Brogdon for another year. But I think that's why they're looking at Brogdon. He's a big guard. He ain't gonna play a bunch of games. Those are substitute games Deuce could play. Because he ain't gonna play every game for the rest of the season. They're gonna give him time off. So Deuce could get his 4 minutes in the first half. Brogdon played 5 minutes in the second half and 5 minutes in the fourth. And that's how they're gonna reduce his minutes so he don't get hurt. But I think that's what they're gonna do. Because look at Philly. At the end of the year, they only got 4 guys on the contract. Everybody else is gone.
Okay. So let me ask you this, Silk. If the Knicks were to add Brogdon, I mean, he'd give you 15 points a game, play some defense, you know, smart with the basketball, can shoot the ball from three, so he definitely helps you to spread the floor. Where does that? Do you think that still just keeps the Knicks where we are? Does it raise the Knicks up a level, or does it keep us where we are?
Nah, it's going to raise the upper level of it because Brogdon's a shooter. He could score.
Right.
He could penetrate.
Right.
He could play D. So you put in a bench defense with Brogdon, Grimes, OG, and Hart with Precious. That's a good defensive unit and 3 guys that can score.
No, I get that. I get that. I'm just wondering, how much does he change? How much does he take you to another level? That's all.
He brings us back to us with Quickly.
Okay.
He can score just as much with Quickly. Quickly wasn't giving us to the championship either, but he could have got us to the Eastern Conference Finals if we all playing our game. So
right.
That's why I see Brogdon.
Okay.
We still missing that one sniper, killer, ball handler to take us over the top.
Yeah.
See, Murray would be that guy, but we would have to lose Grimes. So now we're losing defense on the bench.
Right. I mean, yeah. Unless they look at Murray, well, I don't know. Unless they look at Murray, I know you said that they want to save Grimes for that guy.
Right.
Maybe they view Murray as that guy.
And Brogdon is the Fournier money that they lose when they trade Fournier.
Right.
So now they got his money for 2 years. So the money piece, they're going to use Brogdon as that money piece. That money filler.
Right. I mean, but if they view Murray as that guy, why wouldn't they just make the move for Murray?
I'm supposed he ain't that guy. But now you got to replace Grimes on the bench. Who you got on you got Deuce, but Deuce ain't in a wing. Who's that other wing defensively that can still score a little bit on our bench?
No, I get that. I get that.
Got to play that two guard.
But I think you can. I mean, all right. Here's my thing. If you add Murray, right? If you add Murray, now Dante DiVincenzo goes back to the bench, right?
Sure.
Now you are able to mix up, DeJounte Murray running with the second unit. Sometimes Jalen Brunson running with the second unit. So you still get that ball handler that's with the second unit. You know what I mean? But you got more firepower to spread around.
But I'm letting you know right now, you got a little weaker with bigger physical two guards. Because Murray can play defense, but he gets pushed around with two guards. And Dante can play defense, but he gets pushed around with the Jaylen Browns of the world.
Uh-huh.
So you're losing that physical two-guard defense along with the scoring. So you might be able to score more on the other team, but we may be getting posted up a little bit more.
I mean, but if we add, I think what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
See, you know the Knicks don't like to make too many big changes in the middle of the season.
That's true.
They like to make the kind of big changes like that at the beginning of the season so they can get the replacements in case Dante getting beat up in the post or whoever they got another guard that could come in for defense on
right.
it.
Right. That's
See,
true.
That would be a lot of changes in the middle of the season for us.
Yeah. It's tough. You know what I mean? Because I think you can replace Grimes. You might not replace him this season, but I think you can replace him.
True. And
that's my only
thing.
thing.
They like to do that kind of big change. They like to do that in the middle of the season. This, you just replacing the sixth man of the year with the runner-up sixth man of the year, which he should have been the sixth man of the year last year quickly, but I'm not going there.
Yeah.
But they basically take the same kind of caliber player who we lost to who we got. He just don't always stay healthy, so you limit his minutes.
You limit his minutes.
Play his little 5 minutes a game, so he don't have to play that many minutes.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see what the Knicks do. So tonight, at least for Knicks fans, tonight is an audition, right? For Malcolm Brogdon.
He gonna be hitting threes on us like DeRozan did.
Like
he gonna be
right. He'll come out and drop some numbers on us tonight.
Oh, I want that now. Come on.
He might. Because listen, if I'm Malcolm Brogdon, I might not be interested in playing for this team right now.
True.
Nothing against Portland, but they're young. They're finding their way. They're obviously in a rebuilding mode after the whole Damian Lillard thing. They're stuck in what's his name's contract. You know what I mean? What's happened? What's going on? Jeremy Grant. They're stuck in Jeremy Grant's contract. Like, what is really going on? What is there for Malcolm Brogdon in Portland? Nothing.
And Sims, you know what else? he might be a Fournier factor. He might want to come here and get even with Boston for trading him to Portland. So he might be wanting to see when he see Boston tear them up.
Listen. The thing I'll say about Brogdon is he is a steady player that can shoot the ball, understands how to run a team. And so now you get that type of experience coming off your bench, which is always a good thing.
Yeah. Well, you don't see though. I just hope if he do good, not that good. OG got to slow him down if he's killing us.
Yeah.
We got to put it on.
Somebody.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. Well,
right,
we'll see what goes on with that, man.
See.
All right. Appreciate it, Silk.
Later.
Peace. Ladies and gentlemen, please make sure you support the channel. As you can see on your screen down below me, the channel has been demonetized. Later on this month, though, I'll apply for remonetization. So please make sure you support the channel. Cash App is $ nothing but Knicks, or PayPal is paypal.me/nothing but Knicks. That information is in the description of the video. It's also pinned to the top of your YouTube chat. And I also just put it in the chat once again. You can also support the channel by checking out those Captain Clutch T-shirts and hoodies. The Jalen Brunson Captain Clutch T-shirts and hoodies, ladies and gentlemen, exclusively at printjurisdiction.com. Now, we just talked about a lot of stuff. Let's talk about some matchups tonight. Who's going to match up with who? Then we can get back to talking about some other stuff. So let's take this back to the starting lineup, ladies and gentlemen. And listen, Isaiah Hartenstein is going to be on Duke Breath, Julius Randle and Jeremy Grant. Now, the only thing we really got to figure out is who's going to be on Anthony Simons. You put OG on Anthony Simons? I would. I put OG on Anthony Simons, Dante on Scoot Henderson, and Brunson on Toumani Camara. You know what I mean? Listen, Toumani's not a scorer right now. I don't know if he ever will be, but he's not a scorer. Jalen Brunson on Toumani Camara. You know what I mean? Listen, Jalen Brunson's, we always talk about his defense. His defense isn't just straight up horrible, but, size issues. It's not the best ever either. You know what I'm saying? So the less defense he has to play, the better off. And plus, he's one of your main scorers. The ball is always in his hands. You want to reserve Jalen Brunson as much as possible. So you put him on a guy like Toumani Camara. Hopefully, you're able to reserve Jalen Brunson, throughout the game. Dante DiVincenzo on Scoot. OG Anunoby on Anthony Simons. Anthony Simons is giving you 25 points per game. You put your best defender on him. Right? Put your best defender on him. I think that's how the matchups should and will go tonight. Easiest and best things to do. Of course, Quentin Grimes will see some time on Anthony Simons. Quentin Grimes might see some time on Scoot. Quentin Grimes will probably see some time on, he'll probably see Shaedon Sharpe in the second unit. Do some Malcolm Brogdon. All right. So, Josh Hart will probably see some time on, he might see some time on a bunch of guys. Anthony Simons, Scoot, Josh Hart will. All right. So, there's a lot, and I guess this is the thing that Tom Thibodeau really likes about the Knicks, the current Knicks. They got guys that can switch, you can throw so many different players at versatile wings in the league. The Knicks have, Josh Hart can play some of those wings. He can play some power forwards. Quentin Grimes, OG Anunoby now. Dante DiVincenzo is a decent defender. This is exactly what Tom Thibodeau likes about this current basketball team. My man D Public Enemy said, free Deuce. Let him cook. Listen, Deuce has stepped in his little 10 minutes and played well. No doubt about it. He stepped in and played well. How much time is he going to get? Who knows? You know what I mean? Yeah, I feel like Tom Thibodeau is going to inch him along. Tom Thibodeau was big on trust. It's all about trust for Tom Thibodeau. Does he trust the player? If he trusts you, he's going to put you on the floor. If he doesn't trust you, you're not going to play a lot. And it takes time for Tom Thibodeau to trust you. It takes time. I don't think he fully trusts Deuce right now. I think he's still building that trust. As long as Deuce has been on the team and all of that stuff, I think Tom Thibodeau is still building that trust in Deuce. And the more trust he builds in Deuce, the more he's going to play. Right? I mean, obviously, Deuce's offense is what limits his playing time. His defense is always there. Right? But if he can continue to shoot the way he's been shooting the ball the last 2 games, he's going to demand that he gets more minutes on the floor just from his play. Knocking down threes. Caught that dunk on the Wizards the other night. You know what I mean? The more Deuce does that, the better chance he has of playing extended minutes on the floor. But he's got to do it every night. You know what I'm saying? If he doesn't do it every night, you know what I mean? And all it's going to take is one night for Deuce not to play well. Tom Thibodeau is going to, X out his minutes. Now, if the Knicks end up getting Malcolm Brogdon, and this is where you got to feel bad for a guy like Deuce. He gets his contract extension, 3 years, $13 million, whatever it is, something like that. He gets his contract extension, and then if the Knicks trade for a guy like Malcolm Brogdon, or even if they trade for DeJounte Murray, Deuce could possibly be in one of those trades. Or if they trade for Malcolm Brogdon and it's simply Evan Fournier, I think if the Knicks trade for Malcolm Brogdon, Deuce could be in that trade. So now he can come in and play backup point guard to Scoot Henderson. Because right now, Malcolm Brogdon's playing that backup point guard spot. Deuce could be in that trade. Evan Fournier and Deuce for Malcolm Brogdon. Now, I don't know what kind of restrictions are on Deuce's contract. Does the other team have to pay? Is there some kind of penalty or something like that? Okay, Stafford said Deuce can't be traded until June 30th. Well, there you go. So then Deuce wouldn't be in that trade. He wouldn't be in that trade. There you go. Thanks, Stafford. Thanks for ruining my epiphany. I appreciate that. You have an epiphany and somebody comes and blows it up. Someone like Stafford. I appreciate it. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, the Knicks are playing in about 10 minutes. Keys to the game tonight. Don't underestimate the Portland Trailblazers. That's number one. Right? This team just scored 134 points against Brooklyn. They're settled in. They've been in New York for a little while. They're settled in. Right? Do not underestimate this team. Scoring 134 points is nothing to sneeze at. They can score. They average 109 on the season, but they can score the basketball. So do not underestimate them. All right? Transition defense. Don't let them get out and run. Don't let them use their young legs. That's what they want to do. They want to get out and run. Now, the Knicks have shown that they can get out and run. You know what I mean? Julius Randle, in his article with Fred Katz, said scoring in transition has been one of the things he's focused on this year, and you see him. And when Julius Randle gets out in transition and he's moving, people don't want to get in front of him. Right? People don't want to get in front of him. But the Knicks can't let Portland get out in transition. All right, the Knicks have got to continue to shoot and move the ball the way that they've been. I mean, they've been shooting a high clip from the three-point line, shooting well from the field. As a matter of fact, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the best that you've seen the Knicks shoot from the field since they've been with Tom Thibodeau, since Tom Thibodeau's been the coach. So far this season, the Knicks are shooting 46.7% from the field and 37.8% from the three-point line, the best that you've seen the Knicks shoot under Tom Thibodeau. The best. You know, and, they got to continue to shoot that way, dominate the glass. Portland's, they average 41.6 rebounds per game. The Knicks need to dominate the glass. The Knicks should just dominate this basketball team. The scary thing is the Knicks know that they should dominate the game. We know that the Knicks should dominate the game, and that's what ends up making it a trap game, right? They should dominate this game. You got two guys to worry about, Anthony Simons and Jeremy Grant. Lock those dudes down. Don't let those guys go crazy. Make it tough on them. Not going to say lock them down. Make it tough on them. Right? Make it tough on them. Don't let one of these other guys that you haven't heard of, Scoot Henderson, I'm not taking away Scoot Henderson. Got to defend him too. Don't let one of these other guys that you haven't heard of have a Madison Square Garden night. Right? Don't let one of these guys, have their career game at Madison Square Garden. Don't let them cement a contract at Madison Square Garden. You dig what I'm saying? Don't let them do it. All right? Play the defense that you've been playing. The Knicks are playing the last 4 games. Their defense has been top-notch, the type of defense that we expect from the Knicks. And hopefully they can continue to play this type of defense. And a lot of it is due to OG, no doubt about it. I'm saying, and I know I have my reservations and all of that, but I am I'm happy with everything that I've seen since the OG trade. I've had a couple of questions. I've had some questions about, him being used in the offense and all that kind of stuff. Hopefully they get answered in due time. I like to see him have a game. But since the OG trade, the Knicks are 4-0. 5th best defense in the league. In the last, let me do 4 games. I did last 5 games. In the last 4 games, since the OG trade, the Knicks have the best defense in the league. Defensive rating is 103.1 since the OG trade. 103.1. That's tremendous. That's crazy. Then you got Dallas at 105.8, New Orleans at 107.2, Memphis at 108.1, Cleveland at 109.1. But the Knicks, over the last 4 games, have had the number 1 defense in the league. Let's see if we can continue that tonight. And also, over the last 4 games, the Knicks have had the 14th best offense in the league. Their offensive rating has been 119.3. All right, so, basically if you're scoring 119.3 and you're giving up 103, you're winning by double digits. I expect the Knicks to win tonight. You know what I mean? I expect it to be, is it going to be easy? I don't know. I expect the Knicks to win. Right now, the Blazers might come out feeling good, feeling hot after they dropped 134 points on Brooklyn. The game did go into overtime. You know what I mean? The game went into overtime, so they might be feeling good. They might be feeling hot. Anthony Simons had 38 points and 11 assists. Got to cool that brother down coming into the Garden. Because now they're feeling like, okay, we did it in Barclays. That was practice for MSG. Now let's do it at MSG. Right? You know that's on their mind. Don't let them do it. Don't let them do it. I know, Julu. It's not. It's not. You're right. It's not. But you know how they're thinking. They're feeling like, all right, we practiced in Brooklyn. We practiced in Brooklyn. Now let's do it on the main stage. That's their mindset, right? We practiced in Brooklyn. We practiced in the JV gym. Now let's go do it in the varsity gym. We practiced in the back gym all the way in the corner, the one that don't got the good light and all that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? We practiced over there. Now let's do it on the main court. That's what I'm saying. So they coming into the Garden ready to go. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna get up out of here. All right. Bo Ishmael said, "Who is Duke Reith?" We're gonna find out tonight who Duke Reith is. Listen, they got some players that we never heard of. But we're going to find out who Duke Reith is tonight, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be on after the game for the post-game show. Hopefully we'll be doing a Losers Lounge and all of that. All right? I appreciate your time, folks. Make sure you support the channel. All right? Using that Cash App. Cash App is $ nothing but Knicks. Or through PayPal, paypal.me/nothing but Knicks. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's in the description of the video. It's also pinned to the top of the YouTube chat. I'm out of here. I'll see you about 10:30 for the post-game show. Peace.
This is NBK. #1 show that breaks down the game. If you can't play defense, stay out my way. Dribble the ball, come down the lane. 5 seconds on the shot clock. Who gon' win us the game? You wanna hear Nick updates and trade rumors? Post-game reviews, this the place you tune in. So tell a friend just to keep the ball moving. Like the page if you feeling the movement. Every game we coming to win. Give us a sub like a player that came off the bench. This is NBK, nothing but Knicks.